Why now? Sustainability grows increasingly more important as an evaluation criteria by exhibiting companies. Have you seen in any RFPs any mention of sustainability, greening? What are you doing as an element of the supply chain? I see a couple of heads nodding. The Securities and Exchange Commission, and I reported on this at ESCA back in June, the SEC floated the idea that they wanted more transparency in the reporting by public companies relative to what they were doing in regard to sustainability. In doing that, the company has to force that down through the supply chain to get the answers from the supply chain. While the SEC is addressing this for big public companies, those of us who are privately held and not big public companies may think, I don't have to worry about that. It's not true. If you're providing any services to a public company, it is going to trickle down, and you're now going to be asked at some point, not yet today, but at some point, what are you doing with respect to sustainability? And I know some people on the exhibiting side who have told me they've had to decline replies to an RFP if the company that was replying was not doing enough in regard to sustainability. More of those companies have carbon budgets. Has anyone heard that expression yet? A carbon budget? See, one hand, a couple of hands. Again, so the corporation is now establishing what their CO2 emissions can be, not just if I'm going to exhibit. I mean, if it's a manufacturing company, it's across all aspects of what that company does, one element of which might be face-to-face marketing. They don't want to exceed those budgets. They don't know how sustainable they are if they do face-to-face exhibiting, from the creation of the booth, getting the booth there, getting themselves there, participating, all the tchotchkes, getting that stuff back home or into a landfill. Suppliers are often asked about their implementation of specific green initiatives as part of the bid, which I've referred to. How do we, as an association for a critical aspect of the exhibitions industry, help our members, which this is now EDPA and ESCA, doing some self-reflection here. How do we help them understand sustainability? How do we help them take the first steps? In the working group, it's like preaching to the choir. Everyone who was involved on either the working group that was joint between the two organizations or on the EDPA Sustainability Committee level, they got the religion. I didn't really have to do much preaching. But we were very sensitive to the fact that not everybody is on the same page there. As we wrote this standard, we had to do so in such a way that we could ease people in who have not yet taken that journey. As a result, we better do this for ourselves before someone decides to do it for us. That was said very loud by both Dasher and Julie to me, that we're concerned. We're seeing what's happening in Europe with the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. We're seeing what's happening with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, which is now tackling the issue of sustainability standards for the MICE industry. We've seen what's going on with the Events Industry Council and their sustainable event standards. But no one was asking you or ESCA's members, what should you be asked to do as a stakeholder in this space? We better do it before someone else decided to do it for us. This was a quote: "The world runs on individuals pursuing their self-interests, but great achievements of civilization have not come from government bureaus." And that was in there before Han spoke yesterday about AI and about who's going to regulate AI. Don't leave it to the government to do it. It's up to us as an industry sector. And talking to Tommy last night at dinner about the advocacy that he's doing in Washington, D.C., he's very, very keen on what EDPA and ESCA are doing, because he can now go to Congress and say, we're policing ourselves. We have a plan. We have a plan that's going to take us over a period of time, but we are going to get there. We don't need the government to come in and regulate us in this area.